and welcome to the CU Sports Magazine. I'm your host, Todd Geary.
And I'm the other host, Andrew Rivera. Well, it's been an up and down season for Coach Joe Harrington's team. Okay, who are we kidding? It's been a down season for Coach Harrington's team. One of the few bright spots has been the play of All Big 8 guard Donnie Boyce. Well, that bright spot got dark this week when Boyce was suspended for the Iowa State game for missing class. Donnie, of course, is not the first player to be in trouble this year. Damian Page was kicked off the team last month for his attitude problem, and Mac Tuck was declared academically ineligible for the rest of the season. In any case, both sides say they have no hard feelings. Yeah, and Tonya Harding is going to win Humanitarian of the Year. I don't think so. Donnie Boyce, we'll start tomorrow against Kansas State. Todd?
Andrew, I think Tonya Harding's got that one nailed down. I really do.
Okay.
Well, Bill McCartney, National Letter of Intent, he needed a strong recruiting year to help fill his depleted skill positions, with Lamont Warren leaving a year early for the NFL draft. Mac had only two warm bodies in the backfield, Shea Davis, who's converting from a wideout, and Rashaan Salam, the MVP of the Aloha Bowl. Mac went looking for speed, and he found it. CU nailed down three commitments from three running backs, all of whom run the 40 in less than 4.6. First, Marlon Barnes, he was first-team All-State Tennessee. The 5'10", 190-pound back scored 23 touchdowns while rushing for 1,700 yards. Lendon Henry averaged 6.8 yards a carry while racking up 1,200 yards at Port Arthur High. This guy's big, 6'1", 200 pounds. He can really open up some holes for Rashaan Salam next year. And finally, Herschel Troutman out of Naples, Florida. This guy runs like Bieniemy, and according to Mac, like Emmitt Smith. Think about it. Bieniemy helps CU win a national championship. Emmitt Smith helps Dallas win back-to-back with Super Bowls. So could be good for CU. Good freshman class for the Buffs next year, and these are just the running backs. CU nailed down 17 players for next year, so you'll have to stay tuned to the CU Sports Magazine to find out about them next fall. And Andrew, some basketball news.
Yes, Colorado played Kansas last Saturday. You and I were there. It was ugly, to say the least.
That it was. Very ugly.
And we're going to show you the ugliness right now. Let's go out to the Coors Event Center for the first half highlights. Greg Ostertag says, the Buffs, no problem. Boyce, would he be on tonight? One thing is for sure, Colorado would have to make their free throws, their layups. They would have to make their layups. That would cost them later in the game, as you shall see. Colorado would win the opening tip-off, but pay attention, it's one of the few things that went right for the Buffs. Steve Woodbury opens a scoring for Kansas by nailing the tray. Then Patrick Ritchie follows with a tray of his own. Inbounds play, Colorado trying to avoid a 5-second penalty. They do, but Richard Scott steals it. He goes coast to coast for the stuff and lets everyone know about it. That's right, Rich, you're all that. Greg Ostertag owned the paint all day. Here the board and the two. Kansas was out to a 10-zip lead, and Roy Williams was happy. Fred Edmonds answers with a strong move that gets Colorado on the board. Edmonds again from just inside 3. He had 9 in the game. Then Donnie Boyce with a shot clock running down, and nothing but the threads. Remember those missed layups in practice? Goldgart blows the easy one. He was fouled on the play. Then Ritchie with 3 of his 12, and the Buffs were looking for a little inspiration. They got it on this play. Mark Dean off the miss. Dean had 6 points in the half. Then Boyce driving hard has it rejected by B.J. Williams. Here comes Calvin Rayford the other way. Ted Allen says, oh yeah, watch this. SWAT. Hey Calvin, not in my house. Allen had 4 blocks in the game, but Kansas controlled the boards. Here Scott picks up the loose change and cashes in. More domination in the paint. The miss. Woodbury is there for the putback. Then the strong move by Scott. He had 10 points in the game. Chauncey Billups, are you watching? We love you. We need you. Please consider Colorado. CU trails at the half, 39-25. And Todd, despite CU's miserable half, to be down only 14 points was really quite remarkable. They were still actually in this game.
Yes, they were, Andrew. You know, after that really cold start, Kansas scored first 12 points, you know, and just think if they hadn't had Donnie Boyce, they could have been in some serious trouble if he had gotten caught for ditching classes a little bit earlier. But they had him, and he did put in a fairly good game, and, you know, what can you say?
Well, they showed the kind of trouble that they can get in against Iowa State. We'll talk about that later. For now, let's go out to the Coors Event Center for the second half highlights. Bad start for the Buffs. A clean block, and they call Boyce for the foul. Harrington says, get it over there. They do, but it goes out of bounds, and Mark Dean is not pleased. Steve Woodbury gets Kansas going with a tough jumper. He had a game-high 16 points. Sloppy passing here. Allen throws it away, and Kansas is off to the races. Patrick Ritchie gets the deuce. The Buffs went scoreless the first 5 minutes of the half, and Kansas fans were loving it. Dean finally ends a drought with this 3-footer. But Colorado would continue to be dominated inside. Inbounds play here, and Scott Pollard ends up with the dunk. Then Ostertag. With the rejection of Jensen, he says, God, I could be making so much in the pros. Colorado on the break, nice dish, and Williams gets the hoop. But even when things went wrong for Kansas, they went right. Off the air ball, Woodbury says, thank you very much, and Boyce just can't figure it out. Well, Donnie, maybe you can figure this one out. Colorado turns it over. There goes Rayford down court. He loses it. Williams gets it back. He loses it. A mad scramble for the ball. Neither team wants it. Looks like the Royal Rumble out there. Colorado will finally come away with it as Fred Edmonds picks it up, brings it down court, finds Greg Jensen. No, that's no good. Allen, rejected. They call goaltending. Simply too much Kansas. Boom, 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 and you get the picture. Coach Harrington says this game, it's dull. It's dull. Roy Williams respectfully disagrees. Pete Hefty would end the game with a 3. It didn't make it respectable, only less humiliating. Final score 87-53. Colorado loses it to number 3 ranked Kansas, and that put them in 7th place. They were still a game ahead of Iowa State, as we shall see later. They didn't stay there. And, the worst loss ever at the Coors Event Center for Colorado, and it was simply ugly, Todd.
Andrew, Kansas just had too much meat in the paint for CU. That's a pretty bad way of putting it, but they had Ostertag, they had Pollard, and they were just pulling down the boards and dunking the ball left and right. And, of course, Ted Allen, he did a good job, but, you can only ask a guy to do so much. Kansas ranked number 3 at the time. CU just couldn't stand up to him. So a big home loss, but maybe they'll come back. Who knows?
Another problem is the guys they need to step up, like Pete Hefty, Sandy Gogart, some of the lesser players, they need to step up against a team like Kansas. And Sandy Gogart didn't have a very good game.
You saw it there on the highlights. See the easy miss layup on the foul. Could have had a 3-point play. Didn't happen. So what can you say for Sandy Gogart? He's a good defensive specialist, but just not an offensive night for Sandy.
Okay, well, being the hard-nosed journalists that we are, we did make it to the locker room after the game, and here's what we heard.
And then there was a dead ball, and we decided to try our trap, and that really bothered them for a little bit. And then I think it sort of snowballed on Colorado after that. We started making a bunch of shots, and they started missing a bunch, and it was like a snowball effect. Well, the first half we had them 36% field goal percentage, and then early in the second half it got even worse because they weren't making them. But defensively, I thought we were really good, but we had to be because Donnie Boyce can score a lot of points in a hurry. Donnie's he's asked to do a lot, and he does a lot, and he comes through a lot, but he's not a pure point guard who's played that position for his entire life. And we talked over yesterday, basically, we gave him Thursday off about that we're going to guard him with different people and give him different looks. We're going to play zone, we're going to play point and one, we're going to play our trap, we're going to play our man-to-man, we're going to run people just to try to give him some different looks because I really believe if you let Donnie get into a rhythm, he can almost beat you by himself. He showed that last year in Allen Fieldhouse.
That's exactly right. The first half, they jump out to a 10-0 lead, and then from there, I thought we played him fairly even. I mean, it was like we're down 14 at halftime or whatever, but we played him good after that first stretch. In the second half, they came out and they beat us down the court, and just after that, the game was really basically over. But I just thought Kansas really played up to their ranking tonight, and they really kicked us pretty good. And basically, that's it. I mean, you can analyze it any way you want, but Kansas is just a much better team today.
Their guard play, the physical style thing played a part of that too. Going in and night out, and bringing the ball up and have to guard guys as quick as me, and bring the ball up against the guards that are smaller than me. It plays in my fatigue, but from no part that I'm not going to say that was the reason why I didn't shoot well tonight or why I didn't play well tonight.
What about the crowd down in Future Kansas section? Did that affect you at all?
No, not really. Actually, I didn't really, the crowd really doesn't. Once you're on the court, all you can do is him, but, you really don't think about the crowd. You have a task at hand, and, tonight we just didn't do our job well at all.
Another summer. Another dance. Another song. Another hug.
Good game, man. Don't worry about it.
Another date. Another moment.
When you give blood, you give another chance.
Back at the Sports Magazine, I'm Andrew Rivera along with Todd Geary. Time to change pages here and talk a little tennis. The men's tennis team is doing okay, and Lisa Robbins brings us more.
The senior men's tennis team, led by coach Ron Smar, battled against Wisconsin Green Bay in its season home opener. The CU team served up the victory for the start of the 1994 season. Senior Jasper Witt had this to say about competition this year.
First of all, we have to win the Big Eight, and after we win the Big Eight, we're going to be playing pretty much USC, Stanford, and those kind of teams.
After finishing first in the Big Eight last year, Jasper and his teammates have their sights set high for this season. But this senior from Copenhagen, Denmark, has his eyes on his future, too.
After graduation, I'm planning on probably turning pro for a couple of years, and if it doesn't work out, go back and take an MBA.
Reporting from the indoor tennis complex at the Clarion Hotel for CU Sports Magazine, I'm Lisa Robbins.
Andrew, tennis.
Yes.
The men's first game, they won it. So we're going to have all kinds of stuff like that for you here on the Sports Magazine.
Yes, we do not limit ourselves to basketball. But since I brought up the topic, we're going to go back to basketball and talk Iowa State. And of course, the key for the men's team was that Donnie Boyce was not in action.
That's right, Andrew. And of course, tough road game. After the big loss to Kansas, they have to go out to Iowa. So let's do that and take a look at some highlights right now. The Buffs packed their bags for the road after their shellacking at the hands of Kansas last Saturday. Their destination, Iowa, Ames at is the Cyclones were not the least bit gracious to the Buffs. Over 12,000 on hand at Hilton Coliseum to see the Big Eight battle of the basement. Donnie Boyce sitting this one out for CU after CU coach Joe Harrington discovered Boyce had been playing hooky from class. So Pete Hefty back in the lineup and Ted Allen back in the lineup too after working the bench. CU moving the ball around well early on. Who better to start the Buffs out than Mark Dean, the Bahama Bomber? That's right. Iowa's Julius Mikalik, the native Slovakian, with a nice head fake on Dean and the deuce, but Dean won't stand for it. Yeah, give me the ball, Freddie. Mark with the soft touch. Now watch this. Donnell Bivens puts up the tray. Nothing but iron. Easy rebound, right? No way. Julius Mikalik there sneaks up and gets the ball from Golgart and Allen and gets the easy layup. I wonder if the stats guy gave him 2 steals for that one. Allen back the other way. Hey, I can do more than dunk. A nice dish to Golgart and the lefty. Mikalik tries to lean in the paint. Allen, get that shot out of here. But count the bucket for Julius. Allen gets called for the goaltend. Back the other way. Hefty to pass to Allen, and Allen with the stuff. Iowa starting to open their lead at this point, and Hoiberg adds to it with the tray. Buffs trying to put something together midway through the first half, but the errant pass from Pete Hefty deflates that run. But Pete, eager to make up for the bad pass, puts up the brick. Pete, that ball sounds a little off tune. You better check it. Brick. Hefty 1 of 7 from three-point land. Sandy Golgart, the defensive specialist for the Buffs, the steal, the layup, the foul. Golgart with a good hustle for the steal and the 2 points, but something the Buffs could not do all night. He could not convert the free throw for the three-point play. Joe Harrington, there could be a light at the end of the tunnel. Don't count on it, Joe. That's just the locker room. Beecham, the long shot. Nothing but net. Ted Allen again over here. The nice assist on the give and go to Mark Dean. Dean with 23 points on the night to lead CU. Julius Mikalik downtown. Enough said. Greg Jensen, a bright spot for CU. He was second on the team with 18 points. A season high, career high, including 4 for 4 from the line. Leave him in, Joe. He's playing good. He's playing good. Just leave him in. Hefty drives the lane here, shoots, and bricks one more of his 8 misses on the night, but CU gets the rebound. Mark Dean draws the foul on the way up, can't get the bucket, but he goes to the line. Johnny Orr looking a little nervous maybe? Nah, Dean misses the turnaround, but Jensen's there for the pretty putback. Iowa moving the ball around well all night, especially to Julius Mikalik. He finds the kind of open shot here, the leaner with the soft touch off the glass. Did you like that shot? Well, how about one more time? Mikalik with the big leaner. Let's skip the glass this time. CU looking to close the gap before halftime. Hefty out to Jensen. Jensen into the wide open Allen, and he correctly deposits the ball in the cylinder for a score. Cyclones lead at the half, 44-33. And Andrew, CU, they were only down by 11 points at the half, but Cyclones were really pouring it on strong there at the end.
They were. Cyclones had incredible offensive output in this game, and they've got a lot of weapons. Of course, Hoiberg, he was the freshman of the year, the same year that Donnie Boyce came into the league. So Hoiberg is considered by many to be a better player than Donnie Boyce, and of course, without Boyce in there, it proved to be a big factor for Colorado.
A big surprise this year, Julius Mikalik. He's just a junior still. He's returning, but man, that guy can shoot. I'll tell you what, along with Hoiberg and Beecham. And let's go ahead and show those guys to you right now. Iowa State, of course, finished out the first half strong and continued their torrid shooting in the second half. Remember this name, Hoiberg. Buries the three. Buffs with some sloppy ball handling by Fred Edmonds. Cyclones come up with it, and Hoiberg, the easy layup. Hoiberg, the 18-footer, buries it. Hoiberg, the three, he buries it. He was on fire, yes. Believe it or not, CU did score in the second half. Allen picks up the slop, and you know the rest. Hurl Beecham. Hurl some. Whoa! The rainbow. Count it. Cyclone fans cannot get enough college basketball. It's fantastic. Mikalik gets the feed inside, and just like Golgard puts in the lefty. Somewhere over the rainbow. Beecham, count the three. Jensen trying his best to breathe life into the Buffs, buries the three. Somewhere over. Bonk. Not this time, Hurl, but Mikalik's there for the board. The putback, and Jensen fouls him. Not to be out of the Big 8. Johnny's hoping. Don't worry, Johnny. You're in good hands when Hurl has the ball. Count the deuce. Mikalik, bada bing. Mikalik, bada bing. Hoiberg, bada boom. No, Toto, we're not in Kansas anymore. We're in Iowa. Joe, just close your eyes and click your heels together. No luck. Jensen unloads from three-point land. Greg really putting on a show for the 50 or so relatives and friends on hand. Jensen, of course, a native of Eagle Grove, Iowa. And Johnny Orr offering Joe Harrington some either congratulations or advice on how to win in the Big 8, which is what the Cyclones did big. Final score, Iowa 99, Colorado 69.
Before I say anything, let me just please ask that you never sing on this show again. Can I just request this now?
The rainbow. Did you get it? The rainbow? I loved it. It was great.
We got it. Hopefully you got it if you didn't bother muting the station before you heard it.
All right.
So Iowa State dominated Colorado, and I think Donnie Boyce really played a key by not being in there. Donnie Boyce can play defense despite what people might say, and that proved to be a big key, stopping Hoiberg and Mikalik, two guys that Donnie Boyce would normally be covering. And, of course, he missed his offensive output the most, so I think that proved to be a big factor.
And, even with Donnie Boyce's offense, he averages a little over 20 points a game. That still would have put Colorado 10 points short, so you really can't count Donnie Boyce not being there for the loss, but, hopefully they'll get a few more wins with Donnie Boyce back in here. This one ugly, so we're going to go ahead and take a break. We'll be back up next with some women's highlights for you, so stay with us here on the CU Sports Magazine.
We're clearing the floor, Mike. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night. life, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
If you're not recycling, you're throwing it all away.
Welcome back to the Sports Magazine. I'm Todd Gary along with Andrew Rivera. CU women's basketball team, the 12th best defense in the nation. And Andrew, a big reason for that, Jamila Lang, hard defense. She works those boards very hard for Sealberry.
She does it all. She's big, she's strong, she scores, she blocks shots. And if there was a professional league for women, she would certainly be a top draft pick, I think.
Undoubtedly. And now Rob Moody had the chance to talk to her, and he's going to tell you all about
She's the
Jamila
only
Lang.
senior on this year's CU women's basketball team, and she is the key reason behind the success of the Colorado Buffaloes. She stands 6 feet tall and pours in almost 20 points per game while snagging over just 7 rebounds per game. She wears number 54 and is a crowd favorite in Boulder. Her name is Jamila Lang. She hails from Kansas City, Kansas, but has found a new home in Boulder. How have you liked playing here in Boulder? This is your fourth year, your last year. How have you liked it here?
I think it's been great. We have had a lot of success so far. I think this is going to be one of the biggest years we have. Although next year is going to be really good. I think we got some good recruits coming in next year. I think they're going to be just as good as they are this year.
Lang was a preseason pick to be a first-team All-Big 8 player, and I asked her how she felt about her season up to this point.
I really can't complain too much, although I wish I could work better on my field goal percentage. I'm shooting like maybe just below 50%. I want to get that up higher a little bit.
Are you happy with the team's performance so far? A real tough schedule. Are you happy with where you are?
I guess then again I can't complain either, but the losses that we've lost, I think we could have won easily. I'm disappointed in that respect, but I think we're doing pretty good so far.
And last question, what are you going to do when you leave here? Do you have any plans?
I plan on going to graduate school, get my master's in sports psychology. If not, hopefully I'll find a good job after I graduate.
In addition to her preseason first-team All-Big 8 honors, Lang has also been honored as the Coors Classic Most Valuable Player, the Big 8 Player of the Week, and the CU Athlete of the Week. Lang leads the Buffs in 20-plus scoring games. She has reached the 20-point plateau 9 times this season. She averages over 30 minutes per game and scored a season-high 30 points against Missouri early this year. I had a chance to ask Shelly Sheets how she felt about playing with Jamila Lang.
Jamila's a great scorer. She adds a lot of personality to this team, and, I'm going to hate to see her leave.
This is Rob Moody reporting for CU TV.
And Todd, Sealberry has done such a tremendous job of recruiting for this basketball team. The thing is, you can lose a player like Jamila Lang, who, as Rob told us, will be done after this season, and you've got so many weapons to back her up. You've got Aaron Schultz, you've got your Shelly Sheetses, you've got your Taisha Joneses, people who can step in and fill the void.
And you've got to think that Sealberry was really thinking ahead for her recruiting class for this year, because she's got a very young team but very talented players. And you really need somebody that's going to need to step in and fill in for Jamila Lang next year. And I think she's really got the talent to fill those spots.
Okay, Kansas is in town tonight to take on these same Buffaloes. Rob Moody takes a look at that game.
This was the scene January 9th in Lawrence, Kansas, when the now 6th-ranked Lady Hawks defeated the CU women's basketball team 59-57. Sealberry hopes a repeat of that scene will not occur tonight at the Coors Event Center. What's your general strategy for tonight's game against Kansas?
Well, we need a tough defense. We've got to do a better job blocking off Sampson and Aycock off the boards. They're very good rebounders. If we don't keep them off the boards, it's tough, to eliminate second shots. And we, as usual, need to take good care of the ball and get the shots that we want on the offensive end of the floor.
One of the key reasons behind the Jayhawks' surge to a 16-1 record is forward Angela Aycock, who averages 17.8 points per game. Who's going to be responsible for Aycock?
D.C. Thomas, Lori Weathers, Alex Slokar, for starters.
Colorado returns to the Coors Event Center after a loss against Oklahoma State in Stillwater. The Buffs burned a 15-point lead and allowed the Lady Pokes back into the ballgame. What happened, going back a week, what happened in Oklahoma State?
Well, we had a significant lead, 17 points, and a combination of Oklahoma State not giving up and playing hard and trying to make things happen and eventually getting results because they did try to make things happen, and us letting it go, letting them take control of the game. I think that's what happened.
One of the biggest reasons behind the success of this year's CU women's basketball team is point guard Shelly Sheets. Sheets averages almost 13 points per game and is 7th on CU's all-time career assist list. All right, how's your knee?
It's getting better. It's a day-by-day thing. I think, the swelling's, completely gone, which is good, but, it's a day-to-day thing, and, I'm pretty much back to 100%.
What do you guys have to do tonight to beat Kansas?
We definitely have to take care of the ball. We have to be on the attack offensively and defensively.
CU is a very young team that has survived a very tough schedule to this point. Jamila Lang is the team's only senior, and I asked Seal Berry how this young team is holding up mentally. This is a very young team. Are they mentally ready for the rest of the season, starting at Kansas Friday night?
I don't know. That's a good question. I think that Kansas will be a good test because mentally, I felt that we were young, that we make mistakes. We do some great things. Sometimes we do great things. And then sometimes we do things that put teams, we can play a minute and a half stretch and put a team right back in a ball game very quickly. On the other hand, we can take a last 34 seconds of the first half against Oklahoma. We score 6 points and go in the locker room. So we're a very up and down team as compared to last year's team, which was a little bit more consistent, a little bit, you knew what to expect a little bit more.
Okay, and in a related question, it's been a tough season so far. You still have half the Big 8 schedule to go. Are there any signs of burnout, any signs of the team running down at all?
Oh, I think when you come off a loss and you got a big game this weekend, both of our games are big games. There's a little more stress, a little more pressure, and so I think that adds up to a little bit more fatigue. Tempers are a little bit shorter, but I think this team ultimately wants to go to the NCAA tournament and is looking forward to going to the NCAA tournament and knows that they need to pay their dues before they go to the NCAA tournament.
This is Rob Moody reporting for CU Television.
And of course, no one needs to tell the players that tonight's game is huge. Colorado currently 2 games behind Kansas, so they really need this one if they want any chance at winning the conference.
And like Seal Berry said, they have to win these home games, and especially against Kansas, Oklahoma State, these big games when they come here to the CU Coors Event Center. So big game for them. We're going to take a break right now, and when we come back, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up. So stay with us here on the CU Sports Magazine.
This is just one of the many parts you can play as a young Red Cross volunteer. Volunteer and play your part.
Welcome back to the Sports Magazine. For Todd Geary, I'm Andrew Rivera, reminding you that tonight's Colorado-Kansas game will be on Channel 53, so tune in. For the crew and for everyone else, we'll see you next week.